Hey YouTube, Dawson Rider here. Welcome to my review for the Tyrannosaurus Dinozord from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Reignited toy line. I am going to be doing a more individualized quick comparison at the end, but I wanted to start the review showing all the versions I have, which is the original, the Legacy one, which is also the 2010 one. This is the Super 7, and then in the back is the Lightning one, or the, what did they call that one? What did they call the, I can't remember what they called the giant Megazords that were Lightning Collection. Regardless, whatever those were. But I wanted to show that it's different scale-wise. Like, obviously I'm going to compare them for the accuracy, but it's a bit of a different case because, like, this one is just kind of an individual action figure, but the rest all come as a part of a set you buy together as one Megazord, whereas these are meant to be larger scale that you buy individually for about 15-20 bucks a piece and have to buy a bigger one. So obviously there is a comparison to be had, but it's a bit of a different release, so it's an unfair comparison in some ways based on the pricing and release, although I don't know the aftermarket prices of some of the Megazords, so it might end up being the same or cheaper to buy this new giant version, but I just wanted to show that kind of scale and style difference. Alright, so here we have him on his own. I think overall he looks pretty solid. I think the feel of him is okay. He doesn't feel premium or anything, which he's not meant to be, but he doesn't feel uber cheap or flimsy. In fact, I know it's a different type of plastic, but it actually does feel a little bit more solid than the Lightning Collection version. Zap! There we go, that's what it's called. It does feel just a little bit more solid than that, but it also does have a slightly cheaper quality. Not overall too bad. I think proportion-wise he's pretty good. I just think he's actually one of the pretty, like, accurate proportion ones I've ever seen. Like, you'll see the differences when I compare them to all the previous ones, some more accurate, some less, but I do think in terms of seeing the one in the show, this is one of the more accurate ones. It feels very 90s in terms of the way, like, the stickers feel and whatnot, and the details. It feels like I put the stickers on myself in a way. It does feel like it's missing some details, but this is a kid's toy line. But look-wise, honestly, it's not bad. If you're looking for just a T-Rex dinosaur for display, this isn't too bad at all. I actually kind of dig it. You do have some movement on the legs, but it's a little bit clicky there, and you have the ability, obviously, to move the feet and the knee here because of the transformation. You can sort of move these a little bit, obviously also a part of transformation, but also, you know, you can have kind of a pose. It's not really a pose, really. Like, is that, look at that. Oh my god, that's so articulated. You can open and close the mouth a little bit. It is very loose, I will say. Like, it's not falling down, but I could see it getting to a point where it would do that. It will stay up if I put it there, but compared to the other ones, it does feel very loose, both the jaw and this overall joint, because you do have here, as part of transformation, the ability to pull this down, and we can get a look at what the Megazord helmet looks like, which honestly looks pretty good, I have to say. It doesn't feel weird or inaccurate or stylized or something like that. It overall looks pretty good in my opinion, but like the joints here, like I said, are a little bit looser. The joint here just for this part and for the jaw there. You have the tail here, which doesn't have any weird articulation or anything. You can just pop it off because you're going to be able to do that for the transformation. And so yeah, look-wise, I think it's overall pretty okay. That's what I would say. That's what I would say about it. If I do some quick comparisons here to past releases, let's start. This is the original Megazord release. You can see that it is quite a bit bigger, although they're closer than you would think. I do think this one feels a little bit more accurate, in my opinion, to the way it looks in the show when it rises up out of the dirt and whatnot. The detail work is pretty similar. I do think I have missing stickers on my OG release, though, which is worth noting. Now I'm going to have the Legacy one. This is going to be the same as the 2010 version, just obviously with the die-cast pieces. I do think this one's a lot more detailed, and kind of the slickness of it makes it look a little bit cooler. I do think the die-cast legs look a little out of place here. Like, I think just in terms of more of a seamless quality, the 2010 one's going to look a little bit better there for you. But just in terms of the proportions and the scale, this one does feel more accurate in some ways. You do have these little bits sticking off of there. This one right here is the Zap release, which does look overall pretty cool, and it's got a lot more details, and you can see the paint is a lot better. But this is kind of an unfair comparison because even though this is going to be kind of pricey to buy all 5 of them, this was presented as a collector grade package. Although I know that it's a different type of plastic, and I'm sure this is higher quality in some ways, this does feel more brittle. Like, it's funny, I had my Zap Megazord on display, and I had to pull it down to bring this out, and when I was meddling with it, I was like, man, I hate how flimsy this feels, because I was having a hard time getting the leg off of here, and I'm like, I hope I don't break this. But also, before that, I'm like, man, this really does look cool in the Megazord mode. I wish this felt more premium, but this was also a bit more stylized. I think they said it was meant to look like the original drawings or something, which is fine. It's kind of nice to get something different when you own so many variants of the Megazord, but I do kind of prefer the general look of the more show-accurate one here for this. And last, you have here, this is the Super 7 release, which is basically just a giant figure. It's actually my personal favorite. I actually have to say, I think if we're just talking the proportion proportions, of the way it feels in the show, this one feels the most accurate, which I do like. But this one feels close enough, and I just really like the look of it. Like, if you were just looking for a T-Rex one to have on display because you're going to have this in Megazord mode or the other one in Megazord mode, this one was really cool. Like, the Super 7s were hit and miss, but I really did like this. I'm not sure how much these are going for, but I would at least consider this. You can see the paint looks really good. It's got really good details. I think the head proportions are slightly off with like these bits here, but overall, this was pretty cool. I dug the hell out of it. So, the reason I'm not doing the Megazord review right now is because I only found these at one of my Walmarts, and for whatever reason, they had the 5 figures, and they had the Morphers, but they only had red and blue. I don't know if they got picked over or they only put them out. So I'll see how this does and see if I want to do the other ones, but I wanted to give kind of a good gauge of the quality of it. And obviously the Megazord's going to be a lot larger, but I will say that I'm not like jumping over the moon for this. I think it could look a little bit better in some ways, but I have to say it's pretty solid looking. Like, it's one of the more accurate proportioned ones, like from the look of the show, which I actually really do appreciate. So far I am happy with this one. I do think it's a bit pricey to have to buy all of them. I'll be curious again to see how this line does with kids and stuff, and it just feels like, especially during these times, it feels like a lot to ask to buy like 5 different components. Thankfully, I believe there is an individual release, like with electronics or something, so like if a kid or a collector just wanted the Megazord and they didn't want to have to buy all 5 of them, that option is available. But it certainly is a choice. But I will let you know if I will be doing the rest in the future. If I do, I probably will just do a Megazord review instead of individuals. But I thought this was a good one to pick up for an individual review over Triceratops. But well, let me know what you guys think of this in the comments if you have it, or what you think seeing it on tape. On tape. Wow. Anyways, guys, I'm going to go before I date myself further. Until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe for more reviews like this and more. Dawson Ryder, signing out.